Frank Rampin here at Bobby Valentine Sports Academy. I'm Bobby V out in sunny California, as you can see, and we're here to do the second episode of the When of Bobby V, our little spin-off on words of the documentary about Bobby when he was out in Japan, the Zen of Bobby V. Hey, Bobby, how you doing?
Frank, great. Thank you. Yeah, the baseball season has started. And, it's second day of the season. And this is the time for us to do the when, because people want to know when things are happening with all the new rules. That's for sure. So, Frank, let's do a when real quickly here. When does a pitcher have to pitch the ball when there's no one on base?
So nobody on base, it's 15 seconds.
Okay, so he must start his leg or start his motion by the time the clock counts down to 0. That's 15-second clock going 15 to 0, right?
Correct.
Wow, and how about a man on base? How long do they have?
Runner on base, it's 20 seconds.
Whoa, that's the when. He has to pitch the ball within 20 seconds with a man on base. And how about that hitter? When is it that he has to be engaged in looking at the pitcher?
Ocho, that's 8 seconds.
Oh, within 8 seconds. So as the clock gets down to 8, the hitter has to be in the box. He has to be presenting himself to the pitcher. That means looking at the pitcher, ready for the ball to come. Wow, those are all the whens of the new rules of MLB baseball when you're at the plate. And how about, there's a guy on base. When does a pitcher get to try to pick him off?
So to the best of my knowledge, he has 2 attempts, or the third attempt, he has to pick the runner off, or it's a balk.
Very good. That's exactly right. So he gets to disengage, not even try to pick him off, but he gets his back foot. That's his right foot if he's a right-hander, a left foot if he's a left-hander. That foot can come off of the rubber within the 20-second time frame, and he could try to either pick to first base or just step off the rubber twice. The third time he does it, the runner has to be out. Otherwise, it's a balk. And on balk calls, according to the book of the old balk, and you probably hear my favorite dog, JB, talking because he hates when I do these Zooms because I'm not talking to him, of course.
I was going to ask Jay, you the when do you walk your dogs?
When does he stop barking? He stops barking as soon as the Zoom goes off.
Okay.
And I walk him every morning, and it is the morning here now, obviously, here on the West Coast. But this idea of balking, remember the old balk, when a pitcher would balk, the offense would have their option. That is, if the pitcher didn't stop and he pitched the ball to the plate and the umpire called balk, while that ball's coming to the plate, the hitter can hit it. And then the offensive team has the option of whether they want to take the hit or they want to just take the balk. And the balk says all runners will advance one base who are forced to advance. If you went more than one base in the old balk rule, then you can be put out by the team on defense. And that clarification right now hasn't really been made at the MLB.
I'm sure you've spoken to many people on this.
I talked to a lot of people. They're saying that the pitch that's called the ball, that is, if they violate the time clock, that pitch is a dead ball. So nothing can happen other than the pitch becomes a ball. The guy could pitch it. The guy could hit it for a home run. No, it's only a ball. It's not a home run. But they're still defining a balk as just a balk. And the balk rules should apply to the balk. That is, you advance one base without being able to be put out. And then if you advance more than one base, the opposition has fair play on you. Probably the craziest play is first and third, Frank. You know what I mean? They picked the first the third time, and on that third throw, the guy is safe at first, diving back, but the runner at third decides he tries to go home. Now, can the first baseman throw the ball home and get the guy out, even though the third pick was made and this new balk was called? I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if that guy at third is actually awarded the base of home, because the old balk rule was you got to awarded a base if you were forced to advance. That is, men on first and second, and there's a balk, everyone gets one base. Base is loaded, there's a balk, everyone gets one base. But if there's just the man on first and third, and there's a balk, the man from first goes to second, but the guy in third stays third. This is just, we have to figure out when all this stuff's going to be decided, because it is game 2 of the major.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's it.
I hope if that happens, I hope it happens in a big spot, and there's some good umpire manager argument going on there.
It could be a little argument. You might be able to get in someone's face on that one if it's not clarified, but I think it's been presented enough, and I presented it on a few of these Zoom calls that MLB has. So I'm sure that they've talked about it with the umpires. They just haven't told all the broadcasters and all those other people what's going on. They want to surprise us.
So, the best of my knowledge, that did not happen yesterday. There was no balk call, correct?
No balk calls yesterday, and in particular, no balk calls with men on first and third, which is interesting. And you know, the other crazy thing is, if a guy is on first and you pick twice, and then he steals second, when can you try to pick him off second? Because I think it says per at bat, you have the 3 picks, not per base. Wow, and again, that's a clarification I should know, because I'll be doing some TV work here in about 3 days, but I'm not totally clarified on that.
If that's the case, that's a game changer. Runners on second base know they can take a massive lead and score easily on almost anything hit in the outfield.
Yeah, if you've already been picked at 3 times, I don't know. I guess I'm sure it resets once you advance a base.
So did it work yesterday? What do you know the average time of games yesterday?
Yeah, the average time was much less than. Yeah, even though there are a couple long games, there's a 10-9 game with Toronto playing, and there are like 9 pitching changes. But on average, the games were shorter. They have to be shorter. There's less commercial time. There's less BS time, less walk-up time, less time for the pitcher and the coach to talk at the mound, and obviously less time in between pitches, which I think is cool. It's just the things that you teach at the academy and we teach at the academy, and it's been taught all over the country, kind of need to be retaught again, because there's been a lot of this turn to page teaching. You get in there and you swing at a pitch in the dirt, step out and turn the page, and a lot of hitters have had certain things, kick the dirt out of your spikes, fix your glove, fix your hat, whatever it is that resets before you get back into the box. Well, that reset for a hitter and the reset for the pitcher, you've seen the pitcher throw a bad pitch and then get the ball back and walk behind the mound and grab the rods and bag and throw it down. Well, a lot of the professionals actually had little the pitch by number situation. When you need to reset, go back, grab the rods and throw it down once, clear your mind, take a deep breath, fix your hat, pull up your pants, and go back and pitch the ball. Well, they don't have all that time to reset. So there is a new way of doing things. It might be the same old way. I'm not sure what you would be teaching, but a lot of guys are trying to do it the same way. Just put everything on fast forward. Do it, do it, do it, and do it quickly. And if you don't do it on time, then when you do it is going to be very important.
Yeah, watching the games yesterday, there was definitely a nice flow, and during the spring, there's a nice flow of how things keep going. It's really cool. But like you said, the when, I remember when they first started talking about the clocks, a lot of the players were saying, well, when do I get to, as a hitter, when do I get to think about, okay, what am I thinking on this next pitch? Based on what I've been watching on previous at bats and how he's been pitching certain hitters and how he pitches me and the scouting reports we have on him. And when do I process, okay, what is my guess or what are my thoughts on what this next pitch is going to be? What's he going to, when do you do that?
Exactly. It's all about the when now. And the hitter has one chance to call timeout. And when he takes that opportunity, I think is very important in the at bat. Most often in the first day and in spring training, hitters have done it after 2 strikes. They don't waste that timeout before there are 2 strikes. But a lot of guys get 2 strikes on them. Then they use their one timeout. And when you use it is going to be very important as to the hitter collecting his thoughts and also the breaking the rhythm of the pitcher. A lot of the step out of the hitter was because they would want to break the momentum and the timing of the pitcher. Well, when you do that now is becoming very important, and guys are figuring out exactly when.
Yeah, I always coached. This was the little guys. When somebody was just mowing us down, pitching at a fast pace, we just try to make him wait and change that rhythm. It's going to be tough. Now, how about, I know Scherzer was playing around with some pitching techniques and tactics on the mound to take advantage of the clock. Did he do that yesterday? I didn't see enough of the games in lessons.
No, they implemented the Scherzer rule in that. Yeah, you can't be set in your set position before the hitter gets in the box. So, he wanted to be set. And as soon as the guy got in the box and was looking up, he wanted to quick pitch him, if you will. There are now quick pitch regulations that disallow pitchers from taking that advantage, because I think, a lot of this situation is that the hitters are at a disadvantage. Even though you saw a lot of hits, there's no doubt we saw a lot of hits yesterday in some of the games. You're also seeing a lot of 0-2 counts, a lot of strikeouts, and a lot of non-competitive at-bats.
Yeah. And there was a called third strike on the clock violation yesterday. Correct? Devers was first.
Yeah, Devers he had that in spring training too. It's kind of crazy that he would allow it to happen again, but he seems to be one of those guys that has a little conversation going on with the guy sitting on his shoulder. And, you just got to tell that little guy who's talking in your ear now to, take a seat in the dugout and watch what's going on. You can't be having conversations while you're at the plate.
Which might not be so easy for some guys. I mean, you're talking about a great hitter, just got a big contract, and now he's got to change his approach at the plate, which who knows, going to be interesting to see how he manages that and everybody else.
Yeah, well, we've said all along that, the great athletes are the ones who adjust. You have to adjust to the at-bat, to the game, to the weather conditions, to whether there's a sun and there's no sun, to the crowd, to the umpire. All these adjustments need to be made when you're competing at the highest level. And I think, the great ones are going to adjust. And some of those fringe guys who aren't quite at the highest level are going to play catch up. They're not going to be adjusting as well as the highest level guys. And it's going to be interesting, as you say, as to when they catch on.
So I got a curveball when to throw at you. I'm sure you saw it, but we didn't talk about this at any other time. But pretty cool to watch Anthony Volpe get his start at shortstop yesterday for the Yankees. Born in New York, grew up in New Jersey, and starting shortstop for the Yankees at 21. Pretty cool. And great walk first at bat, really commanding the strike zone with his eye. But did you see his lead and jump on his steal and the when of that? That's a little different.
Yeah, well, he was already taking a shuffle before he began his break. There must have been
Right.
a key that they had that the Yankees picked up. You know, I think some of these teams um, have video and computerized, digitized movements of pitchers, and the computer tells you when the pitcher is doing something that he would do before he would throw to first base, and something he would do before he was definitely pitching home. And I wouldn't be surprised if he had a tip that said, well, he's definitely pitching home. And I'm stealing on this. He just didn't wait for the pitcher to start his first motion toward the plate. He was already shuffling and going.
Which is a huge win based off of video and study and analysis, but that's a huge win.
Yeah, if you can get a running start. I see a lot of guys what they're doing now, especially with left-handed pitchers, at first base. They'll be at first, and they'll literally, as soon as the pitcher makes a move, go back to first base. Any move, they're moving quickly back to first base. So they get back to first base standing up. It looks like they have no lead, and it looks like they have no desire to advance a base. And once they let the left-hander see them in this very non-aggressive move, they then take off on the next pitch. And when you trick them into thinking that you're not going, it becomes a really easy stolen base.
Now, in terms of when, is there a when that you don't do that that small lead and the moving back to the base, the pitcher throws home, and now there's a ground ball hit, and you have no chance to get to second to beat that throw, and it's an easy double play?
Well, you're moving back toward the base on the first move, and then you take your secondary move off of that. So you try to get in the right position. But the when of attempting and the when of being careful applies to the scoreboard. You never get ticked off when the winning run is at the plate and you're on the road. You never get picked off when you're the tying run at home and you're at first base. I think that those are some easy rules. Some Sparky Anderson and some other guys who had running games in the past would tell their players up until the sixth inning, they have a green light. And after the sixth inning, check with me and check with the scoreboard as to when you're allowed to go. Because once you get down to those final 9 outs of the game, you definitely don't want to be giving them away if, in fact, you're the, like I say, tying run at home or winning run on the road.
And is that often something you would do? Just, it's not like lack of trust, but just to make sure that your green light runners weren't making that mistake?
Yeah, it becomes a understanding of when to take a chance, and it's just like when do you protect against the extra base hit? When you're playing defense. Well, that when is in my book when you're at home and the go-ahead run is at the plate. That's when you don't allow them to get the extra base hit to put that winning run in scoring position. At the plate. The when of guarding the line or playing no doubles. It depends on home and away, and it depends on the scoreboard.
And just a when on the when games are down to the end and crucial and time starts to happen very quickly, deciding those whens during that period becomes very crucial and pressure filled. I've sat with you and I've watched it for many years, and I don't think everybody has the ability to process that information quickly and properly in pressure moments. And it's good to hear you giving some ground rules or laying some work here.
Well, we should do a whole when program on when to change your defense and when to exploit the defense. But I was just thinking of that other interesting when, and I forgot what it was, Frank. It was we were talking. That when the clock is running and there's runners on base, the manager often would signal to the catcher to tell the catcher if there's men on first and third. And once again, the way we always did it, when would you throw to second base and when would you not throw to second base? First and third and 2 outs. I always thought when they were trying to steal a run, you do not throw the ball to second base. And when they're trying to steal a base, then you try to throw the guy out at second. And the scoreboard and the base runners usually dictate that when you throw to second, it's when there's a slow runner at third and a fast runner at second. At first, that runner takes off towards second. He's trying to steal a base. They're not going to try to have this runner from third create a double steal situation because he's not very fast. When would they steal second base and first and third? When the scoreboard says that that's an important run, we've got to throw that important run out at second base. When the scoreboard says that run means nothing, that the run at third means everything, that's when we don't throw to second base. When do you throw to third? When do you throw to second? Depends on the scoreboard, the players that are running, and the number of outs in the inning.
So I think, like you said, we need to document all these whens. I think this would be very valuable for a lot of young coaches.
I think that when should be part of every coach's pre and post game situation, where they take a when that might happen and a when that does happen during the game, and say, tell their players about the timing of that play and when it should have or should not have been done.
Yeah, but some of those coaches don't know when those whens are at the younger.
Well, we're gonna give them the whens, and then they'll know when to do the meeting before the game and when to do the meeting after the game to talk about the whens.
Gotcha. So we'll get off a when for a second. Where are you?
I'm in Newport Beach. That's the Pacific Ocean over there. You probably see. I'm just in a little park, kind of across the street from where I'm living out here, and that's JV and June and PT and one of their dog friends that they just met along the way.
And not a cloud in the sky.
No, we have blue sky today. Yeah, it's going to be only up to 70 though, and the Dodgers get to play at home. The Angels are playing on the road after losing a terrible game to Oakland last night. Because that whole thing, you know, the coolest when that I can mention is something that my mom mentioned to me when I was managing. You know, I managed 5,000 games. My mom and dad probably followed every game as closely as they could during the years. One day after about 4,000 games and, not quite, but almost 2,000 losses, my mom told me over coffee that she had some advice for me. And I said, well, what is that, Mom? And she says, well, Bobby, I watch your games. And when you lose, you either take the pitcher out too soon or you leave him in too long. Well, that's the when of making a pitching change. And last night in the Angels game, with a 1-0 lead after Ohtani had 6 fabulous innings of 2 hits, 10 strikeout ball, we decided to go to the bullpen. I guess it was the right time, but maybe it was the wrong people, and wound up losing 2-1 in a heartbreak situation on game 1 of the season.
Tough loss after such a good performance. And speaking of Ohtani, I don't know if you're at the end of this or if you want to talk, but WBC, and you want to talk about that now or next time?
Whatever you think. Yeah, now it's still current, right?
Yeah. So pretty amazing journey, and a little prideful that Japan won again. How was your time over there?
Yeah, well, I got to see all the games in Tokyo. Ohtani obviously is an Angel pitcher, and I'm here with the Angels now, so I was enjoying him working a little. One of the things I really enjoyed doing is seeing Mike Piazza manage the Italian team against the Japanese team. And before the game, the pitching coach for the Japanese team, Masato Yoshii, came out to take a picture with me and Mike. And now Masato Yoshii played for me in New York and also played for us in Chiba in Japan. He's the pitching coach of the Japanese team. And interestingly enough, Frank, I don't know if you know this, but Johnny Kuroki and Masato Yoshii are the only 2 pitching coaches that Ohtani had when he was in Japan.
Really?
All right. Yeah,
cool.
They were the coaches for Nippon Ham pitching coaches while he was a player there. So it was a great reunion of those 2 ex-players from the Mets. Then I got to go over to Chiba to see the first exhibition game of the Chiba Lotte Marines, the team that we were on for 6 years. And I'm proud to say that Masato Yoshii will manage that team. And 5 of his coaches played for us either in 2005, 6, 7, 8, or 9. And then one of them actually played for Chiba in 1995 when I was there. So there's 6 members of the coaching staff and manager who are at the helm of that team. And then Shun Kakasu, who was our minor league director, a Harvard graduate.
One of the greatest interviews ever.
Pardon?
One of the greatest interviews ever.
Yeah, right. Interview in the backseat of a taxi to get the job. But he's now vice president of SoftBank Hawks. He's running the entire operation.
Oh,
and
cool.
And Ken Iwamoto, who I hired in New York to be a statistician and part interpreter, is now the vice president, general manager of the Nippon Ham Fighters. And Shinjo, who played center field in 1999 and 2000 for the New York Mets, is the manager of the the Nippon Ham Fire. So it was cool to be over there and to see all of our family tree, our baseball
Lives on,
tree,
yeah.
sprouting all around the country. You know, Saburo and Hori are the minor league manager and hitting coach, and Nishioka is a minor league independent league manager, as is Watanabe Shinsuke. So there's our tree is sprouting all over Asia.
Very cool. Very cool. I had a question when you're running through the players. Oh, and you couldn't convince Koji to take the trip with you, huh?
I couldn't convince Koji. He was I'm here crossing a Pacific Coast Highway going down to the beach, and it's a little busy, so excuse me here. A little noisy, a little busy. But yeah, Koji is going to go later in the month with his sister, so he didn't want to make 2 trips.
Koji the legend.
Koji,
I wouldn't have made it in Japan if it weren't for Koji. I was in the hospital with the flu the first week.
Right at this time, right?
Yeah.
Right at this time 100 years ago.
Yep.
Holy jeez.
All right,
Yeah.
so there's lots of wins there. I think this is a good time to sign off, get you across the street, get you to the beach. We'll try to check in again next week, and hopefully a whole lot of different when topics will evolve in the first week of baseball. Thanks for your time, Bobby V. Great to see you as always.
You're the best, Frank. Thank you. See you soon. Best to everyone there. Thank you.
All right, talk soon. Thank you.